Jack Miller's first year as a Yamaha rider ended much as it began as the brand's leading representative on track. Yet the final chapter of the inline-4 M1 era delivered a mixture of promise, frustration, and cautious optimism for the Australian. Miller crossed the line 9th in Sunday's Valencia Grand Prix, the final race before Yamaha retires its long-serving inline-4 engine layout in favour of a V4 configuration for 2026. In many ways, Miller's race typified Yamaha's recent struggles and his own turbulent adaptation to the M1. He was able to run strongly in the early stages, even rising as high as 6th, but the familiar spectre of wheel spin returned and ultimately cost him a higher finish. Thut. Speaking afterwards, Miller described a race that demanded constant compromise. "It was a good race, even though I suffered from having to push too much to stay with the guys," he explained, outlining how the M1's accelerating limitations continued to haunt the team. In turns 1, 2, 6 and up to 8, the tyre was spinning massively. The others aren't sacrificing anything there, and they're gaining. What followed was a delicate balancing act. Miller attempted to protect the left-hand side of the rear tyre while maintaining enough corner speed to compensate for the bike's lack of acceleration. It worked, but only for so long. With 10 laps remaining, the tyre gave up, and Miller's race transitioned from attack to survival. This has been the story of Yamaha's season. Competitive flashes undone by fundamental mechanical constraints. Sunday's race was not only the end of the 2024 season, it symbolized the end of a Yamaha era. The inline-4 motor has been the heart of Yamaha's MotoGP identity for 2 decades, producing some of the smoothest, most agile bikes in the paddock. But as Ducati, Aprilia, KTM and Honda all commit to V4 machinery delivering superior acceleration and traction, Yamaha could no longer ignore the directions of the sport. Miller himself welcomed the shift, saying, "Now we'll put this inline bike in the cellar and start working on the new one. It won't be as big a step as the one I had during the year, going from what I knew to this bike." The Australian's comments underline a broader reality. Adapting from KTM's rigid, carbon fibre-framed WP-equipped V4 to the softer, inline-4-powered Yamaha was always going to be an enormous philosophical shift. The next transition from Yamaha inline to Yamaha 5.4 should feel far more natural. And crucially, Miller believes Yamaha's late-season progress with front-end feel and tyre management provides a foundation for the new project. Yamaha's 2024 campaign will not be remembered for podiums or title fights. Miller ended the season 17th overall, although second among Yamaha riders behind Fabio Quartararo. Still, the Australian sees value in the journey. "We've been up and down some highlights and some decent lowlights too," he said, noting that the team had made genuine steps in front-end confidence and tyre stability since Phillip Island. As he summarised it, "Maybe we lost a little in terms of outright performance, but we gained feedback. Now I understand this bike more and more." His last line carried both reassurance and warning. Next year's V4 bike will be different, but the DNA is the same. In other words, Yamaha may be turning a page, but it is not ripping the whole book apart. The Valencia Grand Prix was also the final MotoGP appearance for Miller's longtime rival and Pramac teammate Miguel Oliveira. The pair have been racing one another since childhood and share a significant mutual respect. "He has been a fantastic rider for this sport," Miller said. "It's sad to see him leave the paddock, but I'm looking forward to seeing his journey in Superbike." Oliveira's departure creates space for one of the most anticipated arrivals in Yamaha's modern history, WorldSBK champion Toprak Razgatlioglu. Miller didn't hide his excitement. "I'm ready to start working with Toprak. He's another fantastic rider, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Toprak's spectacular braking, aggressive corner entry and explosive racecraft have long made him a dream candidate for MotoGP fans. His transition to the Premier class will begin immediately with the official Valencia test on Tuesday, followed by a private session on Wednesday. Toprak's arrival is more than just a new teammate, it is a potential turning point for Yamaha's entire project. Toprak's signature skills, braking stability, rapid direction changes, fearless overtaking align closely with Yamaha's historic strengths. With a new V4 engine promised, Yamaha may be building a bike that can finally harness his aggression without penalizing him on corner exit. For Miller, Toprak represents both an asset and a challenge. If the V4 levels the playing field, Yamaha will have two riders with vastly different strengths. Miller's adaptability and racecraft versus Toprak's unmatched braking power. Their feedback could shape the 2026 M1 into a far more complete machine. Having a WorldSBK superstar step into MotoGP signals Yamaha's willingness to try bold solutions. With Ducati dominating and KTM rising, Yamaha cannot afford caution. Toprak is anything but cautious. Beyond the technical intrigue, Yamaha's situation heading into the winter break is unusually delicate. The factory knows it cannot afford another season spent chasing the tail end of the top 10, and the arrival of a completely new engine concept heightens both the anticipation and the pressure. Engineers must balance the promise of increased power with the need to preserve the agility that has traditionally defined the M1. For riders like Miller and Razgatlioglu, the margin for error during development will be slim, and both will need to provide clear, unified direction if the project is to progress rapidly. There is also a strategic dimension to consider. Ducati's stranglehold on MotoGP has forced every manufacturer to rethink its philosophy, but Yamaha's transformation is the most radical of all. Moving to a V4 is not simply an upgrade, it is an admission that the existing concept has reached its ceiling. Rivals will be watching closely to see whether Yamaha's gamble pays off, or whether it introduces a fresh layer of complications before the 2026 season even begins. From Miller's perspective, the opportunity is enormous. Having now ridden two fundamentally different types of MotoGP machinery, KTM's V4 and Yamaha's Inline 4, he enters this new phase with a unique breadth of understanding. Few riders on the grid possess experience that spans both philosophies in modern trim, and Yamaha will need that insight as it attempts to shape a competitive platform from the ground up. Should the new project succeed, Miller could find himself at the forefront of a genuine resurgence. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth MotoGP analysis, exclusive rider insights and expert breakdowns as Yamaha begins its bold new chapter on the road to 2026.